Hello, I am Atiqotul Fitriyah. I'm here trying to present my paper on the title Cultural Trauma and the Collective Memory Case Study of Tho'un and Burdah Keliling Ritual. This paper aims to present the cultural trauma in the ritual Burdah Keliling as an oral tradition of Madurese and how the cultural trauma linked with the collective memory of Madurese when facing the plague.
The study was made use of qualitative research with ethnography methods and oral traditions approaches. The participants were selected through the random sampling method. They were interviewed by the random questions by focusing on these issues: the cultural trauma of plague on Madurese, the collective memory of Burdah Keliling, and the Tho'un oral history. The history of plague runs along with the history of the world. There were three great pandemics of human disease in the Common Era: in the 6th, in the 14th, and the 20th centuries, and present the COVID-19. This paper would have focused on the cultural response from Madurese when facing the plague during the early 20th century, then how they're recalling their memories to face the COVID-19 as a pandemic today. In the early 20th century, under the Dutch colonial rules, the access to the health facilities was so poor. Based on the oral history of Madurese, they are performing the Burdah Keliling ritual to drive away the plague. Burdah Keliling is a ritual reading Qasidah Burdah together with a lot of songs by going around in some place. Qasidah Burdah is a Sufism poetry created by Imam al-Bushiri. The plague was known as Tho'un or Tho'un in Madurese language. The plague was named according to the story in the Hadith, which tells of the plague during the time of Khalifah Umar bin Khattab in Sham. Tho'un or Tho'un became an oral history of plague among the Madurese. They are believed that Tho'un was coming from a bad witch who had black magic and the devil curse. Therefore, they come to the Kiai to fix the plague. Kiai is the priors who had the Madurese trust. The Kiai was suggesting the people for performing the Burdah Keliling ritual. After performing the ritual, the plague began to disappear, and they believed that Burdah Keliling could drive away the disease. Burdah Keliling ritual was carried out and transmitted by the medium to lower classes because of the lack of access to the health facilities and the public mistrust of the colonial. However, after the independence of Republik Indonesia, the health facilities began to develop. People began to become aware of medical access and leave the Burdah Keliling ritual. And because of that, the Burdah Keliling ritual only exists in some pesantren with Madura culture. The example is Pesantren Nurul Jadid Paiton Probolinggo, Pesantren Sidogiri Pasuruan, and Pesantren Salafiyah Syafi'iyah Sukorejo Situbondo. But now, when the COVID-19 comes, the people, especially people with Madura culture such as Situbondo, Jember, Banyuwangi, Pasuruan, Gersik, and others, performing the Burdah Keliling ritual again. In this case, we have to concern how the recalling memory process on the cultural trauma of plague among the Madurese. The big plague in the early 20th centuries, called Tho'un, was a horrendous event. There is so many dead people during the Tho'un plague. There is so many losses, an awful day in almost 10 years and more. These memories become a collective memory of awfulness years for Madurese. These even construct the memory of Madurese to fight the plague by performing Burdah Keliling ritual. helps with ideas of collective memory is present the fact that the collective memory are not a given, but rather a socially constructed. This is a fact of individuals construct memory in a collective that draws strength from their integrated and collected memories. The Tho'un plague was a strength memories who became an oral history among the Madurese. And Burdah Keliling ritual became an oral tradition which is still being carried out between generations till now. It shows how strength the trauma of Tho'un plague to the Madurese. Alexander, on his book Towards a Theory of Cultural Trauma, explained that cultural trauma occurs when members of a collective feel they have been subjected to a horrendous event that leaves an indelible mark upon their group's consciousness, marking their memory forever. So, when they face a similar outbreak plague, they will have recalling memory process through the cultural trauma. Recalling memory began when they have a cultural trauma which happened again, although in a different era. So, when they face a similar outbreak plague, they will have recalling memory process through the cultural trauma. Recalling memory began when they have a cultural trauma which happened again, although in different era. It shows the connection between the cultural trauma and memory collective in the case of Tho'un plague and Burdah Keliling are related strongly. They constructed each other for giving a cultural response to face the cultural trauma which stay forever on their collective memory.
Maybe that's all, and this paper still has many shortcomings and needs to be refined in the future. Thank you and